Today we are talking about pen storage. My name is Amanda Arneill and I want to show you the best ways to store your pens. Now you might be wondering, how exactly should I store my pens? Because some pens, you want to have them in a nice container on your desk like this facing up, but don't do that with your brush pens. It's very, very likely that if you do that, where's gravity going to pull all the ink? Down to the bottom, which means it's not going to be up at the top of your pen. That means that most of your brush pens are going to need to be stored horizontally, which can be tricky. How do you organize horizontal storage so that it's minimizing the amount of space that it's taking up and maximizing your ability to use your pens? That's what we're talking about today in Pen Storage 101. I have an assortment of storage methods that I use, ranging from free storage options to others that are moderately expensive and ones that are more expensive. So you can choose which one you feel will work best for your workspace and your workflow. The first and easiest thing that I use for pen storage is a box. Now, with a box, you can use any box that you find around your house. I'm one of those weirdos who, if I get an object in a nice box, for instance, your iPad or an Apple Pencil, save those boxes because they have nice rigid sides. And one thing about them is they have a low profile. They're not high. If you have a really, really deep box, that means that you're going to be digging around for the pens on the bottom. Instead, you want to find shallow boxes or boxes that will limit you to certain collections. For instance, in this box, I just have black markers because those are typically my go-to pen. If I'm going to use a colored marker, I'm using a whole set of those colors, whereas a black pen, it's easy to find the perfect one in my black pen box. I also have boxes for pencils, I have a box for erasers and sharpeners, and I have a box for gray pens as well. Those are ones that for me are in high rotation, and then I have those in a drawer in my office so that I can simply open it up, find the exact pen that I want quickly and easily, and then get right to work. Pen storage solution number 2 is also pretty cheap, and that is using the storage case that it came in. There are a few pens that come in really well-designed storage cases. For instance, this Monomy Plus Pen 3000 is a really good one because the case has snaps to keep it closed, and when you open it up, the pens are stuck in there. That means that this can easily be thrown into a purse and also thrown into a drawer, of course, stored horizontally, so that your pens are ready to go with you wherever you want, but also easily able to be stored. I actually store these in my closet right on top of my pen shelf. It keeps them horizontal, but it's also easy to grab them and go. However, there are other types of pens that come in, and this is probably the majority of them, come in satchels that are not meant to be reused over and over. So what do you do for these pens? Because they are definitely, and have definitely multiple times, going to fall all over the floor, through your purse, all over your desk, and you know what's going to happen when you least want it to. So how can you store pens that don't come with their own reusable storage case? Well, there's the traditional pencil pouch. I have a few pencil pouches that I use, and I make sure that for different pens, they have different pencil pouches so I know which one I'm grabbing. This one, for instance, is stored with my bullet journal pens. So it has the pens that I'm using for this month in my bullet journal, and a little ruler and a whiteout. This is one that I know exactly what's in here. Regularly, I go through and take out the extra pens that always seem to find their way in, and it's easy to take with me on the go. A pencil pouch like this, however, is more of a storage pouch. In here, I have my extra Tombow ABT pens, and I have a lot of these. I do have the full collection in the stand. These are one of the few pens that can be stood up on end and still survive, but I just keep my extras in a pouch like this because it makes sense to me to be consistent with that horizontal storage. That way you're not always thinking, what was I supposed to do with these pens again? And if in doubt, store them horizontally. For instance, the Molotov pens, the acrylic pens, your oil-based Sharpies, all of those must be stored horizontally. So let's just keep it simple and store them that way. This pencil pouch is a Parkland pencil pouch, and I really like it because it holds tons of pens. I think I have well over 100 in here, probably closer to 200. Now, one of the pros of this, though, is that there are so many pens in here, and it's also nice and long. Those Tombow pens, it can be hard to find nice long storage, but this Parkland option is a really good one. Keeps everything right in there, Velcro shut, no pens are going to escape. And it holds its shape. It doesn't just flop apart, which means that you can search in here to find your pen, and the other ones won't come flying out. However, you might notice that it is relatively deep, which means that it's hard to get to those pens at the bottom, and you're going to be unpacking in order to get to those ones, which creates quite a mess. So let's see what a simpler sort of pen organizational storage is that you can make good use of. Now, the next pen storage option that I want to talk with you about is a pen binder. And I have to say that this is probably my favorite way to store pens. These run anywhere between $15 and $25 depending on the print and the size. I have 3 different sizes and styles here to show you, but these are hands down one of my favorite ways to store pens because everything is in there. You can take this with you on the go. It's easy to stay organized, and it's easy to see your collections at a glance. So for this one, I have my Pentel sign pens in here, and with the new colors, it's filled it in a little bit more. First, it was just this first page, and there's still more space for extra pens. I typically like to put related pens into a pouch together. If I don't have enough of one brand to fill it, then I would pick another brand that's similar or a pen size that is similar. That way I know, okay, this one with this material is my small pen binder. All right, now the links for all of these are in the blog post link down below where I have linked to each of these individually, but I want to make sure that you know exactly what you're buying when you buy these. So I want to show you a little flip through. So this one I use for my jelly rolls and then also my Tombow twin tone pens. And again, those would be all a similar sort of pen. They all have the bullet tip, and then they can get zipped shut so that nothing falls out. Now, the nice thing about these is that you can see that they lay flat. They don't end up curved, which would stop you from stacking them horizontally. So I have just in my closet a little box that I slide these into, and it's one on top of the next so that they're all stored horizontally perfectly in the closet. And because they're so stackable, it also makes sure that it doesn't take up a lot of space and it won't fall over as well. So another style of pen binder that you can get is one that has the external zippers for each section. Now, I like this one because you can just open one color, but of course, I always tend to open the wrong side. So here I have my Stabilo pens, my Pen 68 set, but to get to the next color, you have to undo another zipper. And that can be a little bit annoying. I always seem to open from the wrong side, but it's also a really nice way to store your pens. One difference you might notice is that this has one elastic band per pen. However, this other style of pen binder has a large elastic, and you can actually fit multiple pens in there. So depending on the barrel size of your pen, you can sometimes fit 3 pens in here. I also use a pen binder for my colored pencil collection, and sometimes I can even fit up to 4 colored pencils in one elastic slot, whereas here you are limited to 1 pen per elastic. Well, most of the time. Even though I've shoved a few extras in here because they needed to be with their family, it still lays flat. So that is the beauty of these pen binders. They are easily stackable. It ensures that your pens are horizontal. And if you go with just one style, it can be a little bit easier to make it all look beautiful in your closet or wherever you store your pens. This is even easy to store on a desk beside your computer, and it will look clean and neat. You can choose your favorite print, get multiple of those, and even just write on the band here what type of pen, pencil, or colored pencil you have inside of that pen binder so that it's easy for you to know which is which. The last storage option that I want to show you is one that will show off your pens, but it's also the most expensive, which isn't great, and I find that it's probably the least practical for daily use. Now, this storage is an acrylic set, and each of these pen trays is their own unit. So you can build your stack as high or as small as your space allows. That's a really nice perk of this system, is that if you only have space for 3 rows of pens somewhere, there you go, you've got your 3 rows of pens. Your pens can stay nice and neat. You can see the colors that you've got easily, but when you go to use these, you actually have to pull each individual color out. And then at the end of use, you have to go back and try to get them back into the slot. Sometimes it's not the most practical for time, but I do find that being able to see all of the pens there means that I'm not always just grabbing the exact same 3 or 4 pens every time for every piece. It will keep your different styles of pens front of mind because you're able to see them. Often things that get tucked away just don't get used anymore. So you can see that this storage system allows for you to stack your stacks straight one on top of another, like this portion, or you can stack them in a stepping down sort of method. I have this in my closet where it's stepping down so that the pens are easy to grab. It just gives a little bit more finger space for grabbing the next row down rather than having them fully hidden in like this row would be right here. So these are my Faber-Castells, and if it's straight on top, it does make it a little bit tricky. I would say this storage system is probably the most practical for the longer pens because it's just easy to grab them with them still sticking out a little bit. The ones that are the shorter style of pen, it can be a little bit harder to get in there and grab them. So if you're having any difficulties with any sort of pincer grip, or if you don't have fingernails to be able to grab them, then this might not be the best storage for you, but if you want to be able to see all of your pens, this is a beautiful option that allows you to see them all and put them on display. Again, every single one of these options is linked in the blog post down below, so make sure that you check it out so that you make sure that you get the right ones. I've had a few duds, and I don't want you to experience any of those. So let's recap. Anytime that you get a set of pens, check out the storage option that they come in. If it is reusable, just make sure that you can store it somewhere horizontally. If that doesn't work, or if you want to have a small collection, for instance, of your black pens or your pencils or other pens that you're going to use frequently, you can consider using some shallow boxes, and that is free. Another free option, which is just fantastic. For more of a set collection or pens that you're going to be using regularly, you can always use a pencil pouch so it's easy to toss it in your bag and take it on the go, or a larger pencil pouch for pens that won't fit into your other desired storage forms. I highly suggest looking at pen binders as another alternative way to store your pens. It makes it quick and easy to take your pens on the go, grab them, grab a whole collection of pens to take with you onto the couch as you cuddle in for some TV and lettering, or you can have all of your pens on display with an acrylic storage shelf like this one. Now, of course, you have cheaper options, you have medium range options, and then you have more expensive options. But the most important thing is to find the option that works best for you. Which one is going to get you diving into your pens? Which one is going to help you quickly and easily find your pens? And if you do a lot of lettering or artistry on the go, you're going to want to make sure that your pen options are ones that are easy to take with you. Consider all of those things when you make your pen storage selection. Click on the link down below to see all of these options so that you can get them for yourself. I mean, boxes you can get anywhere. And just remember that however you store your pens, you do want to try to keep all of them horizontally so that they last for as long as possible.